Welcome to Vision 48 News. I'm Logan Brown.
And I'm Taylor Dukes.
And I'm Jim Smith.
According to Campus Enhancement Services, Greer CPW and Blue Ridge Water have issued a boil water advisory on Monday due to a water main break in the area. This means all water must be boiled for 2 minutes before drinking. Bathing and hand washing are safe. Papa John's, Einstein's, and the Grill will be closed until further notice. Bottled water will be distributed at the Kraft Hempel building next to the prayer chapel. Student Life requests that you enter through the front door and exit through the side door of the building. Water distribution will be open until 10 p.m. Monday night and on Tuesday from 8 a.m. until 2 p.m. Check your student email on Vision 48 Facebook page for updates. Over the weekend, Republican presidential candidates Dr. Ben Carson and Senator Ted Cruz made stops in Greenville. Vision 48 sent out a team to capture Dr. Carson's appearance on Friday. Here's Emily Gissendanner with the story.
Vision 48 News is here reporting from one of the talks in the Tim's Town Hall series. Hundreds of people have flocked to the Bob Jones Auditorium to see some famous Republican faces, including the much-anticipated Republican candidate for president, Dr. Ben Carson.
I'm really excited to possibly see a presidential candidate and, maybe a future president, I don't know.
He could possibly be the next president of the United States, and he's here, so it's awesome.
I think a candidate needs to be effective for all age groups.
Well, I think it's important for everybody to be educated about who's running.
Education is the great divide. It doesn't matter what your ethnic background, your financial background. If you get a good education, you write your own ticket.
Dr. Carson addressed both the public and the media, and I asked him a question for the North Greenville community about defending education where Christ makes the difference.
Last question.
Dr. Carson, what are you going to do to help protect Christian higher education in America?
The legislative branch is going to need to actually get involved and do something now to protect the rights, the religious rights of Americans of faith. And I'm confident that they will do that. And certainly as president, I would work extremely hard with them to make sure that we never have a situation where we keep people's religious freedom is jeopardized.
Reporting from Bob Jones University for Vision 48 News, I'm Emily Gissendanner.
The theater department began its run of the best Christmas pageant ever this past weekend. I spoke with a few members of the department for more on the story.
Can you give us a quick overview of the play and what we are to expect from it?
Yes, the Christmas pageant, or Best Christmas Pageant Ever, is basically about a church and their Christmas pageant, and this year it's the one year that it's different.
So what can we expect from this play that we don't usually get?
This play is a little bit different because we're a little bit more involved with the community in this one. There are some cast members that are not a part of the college campus here, mainly because of age. 3 of those are my siblings, Emery, Sarah, and Elijah, who you'll see. Elijah's got the hair, so you'll recognize him. Our director is Beth Norris, who's also a student here. Normally we've got a faculty director, but not this time because we're doing things a little differently. She has done a fantastic job with this one. Best Christmas Pageant is one that a lot of churches do, a lot of schools do, because it's a script that can be adapted fairly easily. But there are some themes in here, and there are some moments in here that she's really bringing out that I haven't really seen before in this script.
Well, actually, I'm in a class. It's called Advanced Directing, and it's an independent study that I'm doing this semester. So I'm the only one in the class, and one of the qualifications or requirements for the class is that you have to direct in one act. They already planned our season that we were going to have this show in the season, and the director that we had for it ended up not coming back this year. So I talked with the head of our department over the summer and asked if I could have the opportunity to direct the main stage show. I didn't really know what I was getting into at first because I thought that it's a one act, it's going to be small. There are almost 30 characters, including children, and I didn't really know what I was getting into, but it's been a great experience and everyone has just been very supporting and just really easy to work with.
The Best Christmas Pageant Ever will be showing this weekend, November 19th through the 21st at 7:30 p.m.
With the stress of exams coming, it might be easy to get distracted by all of your social media. But rather than just using your phone, have you ever thought about how social media would work in real life? Vision 48's social media team did just that. North Greenville just hosted its annual Men's and Women's Conference. Vision 48's Logan Brown spoke with the speakers and students involved to recap the week.
Preparation for the conference, for me, looked different this year than any conference I've ever spoken at.
I've always really enjoyed going to the Men's and Women's Conference because I feel like it's a time that you can just take out of your day and just come together as a group of women that go to the same university and talk about things that aren't necessarily discussed in normal chapel.
I tried to ask as many students as I could, hey, what's going on in your life and what can I do to kind of help in that area?
We assist with some missionaries who have started a center in Bangladesh for girls who live in the slums, and they're some of the most vulnerable girls to human trafficking. So what we do is we work with the center that is bringing these girls in off of the streets, giving them an education, sharing the gospel with them, and then giving them some trade, a skill, so that they can sew and earn a living instead of being forced into human trafficking.
Really, really awesome because the speakers always know what relates.
I was very honored that they would ask me to do it. It is frightening in some ways because, again, it's where you live.
It's really a privilege to be here. The Spirit of God moved last night, and it was amazing just to see the receptive hearts of all of the young women.
Last week's Men's and Women's Conference was a great success. North Greenville students can be looking forward to next year's event. The North Greenville campus security has made some changes to their policies. Now, students are allotted one free lockout each academic term. After that, there will be a $10 fee per lockout. If you do get locked out, contact your roommate, your RA, then your RC before calling security. Once every 2 years, the Modern Poetry class of North Greenville, led by Dr. Bruce, hosts a special poetry event. And this year, the event took place at Next High School in downtown Greenville. Here is Vision 48's Garrett Roberge with the story.
This past Tuesday, November the 10th, students and faculty from North Greenville, as well as residents from the surrounding area, gathered at Next High School to shed some light on injustice and dehumanization through spoken word, music, art, and film.
Consider the Holocaust survivor, the war veteran, the abused child who was locked away her entire life.
Emma Back and Darren Luke interviewed a few patrons of this event to shed some light on what it is all about.
There's a modern poetry class at North Greenville. I guess that's a given. And every time the class comes, which is about once every 2 years, usually they put on an event.
It's called Poetry of Witness. We read poems by international poets, and we were able to shed light on the injustices that are in our world today.
All of our poetry that we were talking about was about witnessing suffering, witnessing pain.
We use poetry as our medium to have a voice and in order just to understand people at a greater measure.
Don't be silent about what you're passionate about.
Just to be able to take what we do usually on campus to Greenville was really the idea here.
We were able to give comfort to that and to say we hear and understand you through poetry.
There's not just desperation in this world, there's actually an outing that you can go to, and I really found that within this.
I really liked a couple of the speakers, one on human trafficking and just the awareness of that.
Sometimes we don't realize what it is that we've been missing until we hear someone else say it. Oh yeah, like I need someone to really hear me when I speak. And then kind of through that to go, and maybe that's something important that I should be doing for someone else.
Because when we don't talk about it, we're letting it happen. When we don't talk about it, we're letting it seem like it's okay. And it's not okay.
Reporting for the Vision 48 News, I'm Garrett Roberge.
Thank you.
Thanks, Garrett. Stay tuned because we've got more news, weather, and sports coming up next. We'll be back right after this.
No.
You good? I'm just out of gas, man.
It's been 3 hours. I don't know if I'll make it. I'm gonna have to go outside.
North Greenville opened its doors on Saturday for prospective students. This was the second open house event of the semester. Students and their parents were able to tour the school, sit in on sessions, and enjoy a fellowship with professors and organizations around campus. On Friday, November 13th, more than 150 people were killed and hundreds more were wounded as terrorists attacked Paris, France. France declared a national state of emergency after 6 coordinated shootings and bombing attacks took place. Paris residents are asked to stay indoors. There are at least 1,500 military personnel being deployed across the city. According to CNN, ISIS claims responsibility for the attacks. Our thoughts and prayers go out to France during this time of loss.
The cooler temperatures in the air are a sure sign that winter is coming. We're going to toss it over to Emma Back with weather this week.
And now for this week's weather. On Tuesday, we're going to have mostly cloudy skies with a high of 60. And on Wednesday, it's going to get a little bit rainy, so make sure you have your umbrellas. On Thursday, we're going to have sun again with a high of 66. And on Friday, it's going to get a little bit chillier again with a high of 60 and a high of 55 on Saturday. Thanks, guys. Back to you.
Women's volleyball was eliminated from the playoffs during the opening round of the Conference Carolinas tournament after a loss of 3-1 to Barton College. This marks the end of the season for the Lady Crusaders with a 22-11 record, the best record so far in school history. Men's volleyball hosted Clemson and Liberty University on Wednesday night here at NGU. The Crusaders are continuing preparation for the spring 2016 season. January will kick off their second season in the Conference Carolinas. The men's basketball team suffered 2 losses back-to-back this weekend. North Greenville fell to Coker College on Friday night in the annual SAC Conference Carolinas Challenge by a close score of 63-57. Next, they went on to play Newberry on Saturday afternoon. The Wolves earned a 94-84 win over the Crusaders. As the season has just kicked off for the Crusaders, they will have their first home game against Columbia International this Wednesday, November 19th, here at NGU. Women's basketball tipped off the season Friday night with a devastating loss of 68-59 at the hands of the University of North Georgia. The Lady Crusaders went on to their second game on Saturday afternoon against Francis Marion. They suffered a loss of 67-59, making this the second loss of the season. However, the season has just started, and they will travel to Brevard College on November 18th to face off against the Tornadoes at 6 p.m. The Crusader football team played their last final regular season game for 2015 on Friday night against the Blue Bears here in Tigerville. North Greenville and Livingstone battled to the tune of 990 yards combined on a Friday night as the defenses struggled to gain a foothold after having only a couple days to prepare. The Crusaders put up 507 total yards while the Blue Bears finished the game with 483. In the end, the Crusaders held the day with a resounding 35-17 victory. NGU football ended the 2015 season with an 8-3 record.
Thank you for joining us all here on Vision 48 News. Tune in again next week live at 5. And if you can't wait that long, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for your latest news. I'm Logan Brown.
And I'm Taylor Dupes.
And I'm Jim Smith. Have a blessed week, North Greenville.